Due to the military's actual legitimacy in Pakistan, we see that, as we also saw in other countries in Africa, that the British dictatorship of the country or the British colonies were actually more immune to army type dictatorships, as there was that sort of atmosphere when the British ruled. Another thing, the most important institution in the rule of law is the judicial branch. Pakistan does have a judicial branch in which the most powerful court is the Supreme Court of Pakistan, located in its capital, Islamabad. The Supreme Court has also gone to peaks and troughs throughout the history of Pakistan, as it has successfully held rule of law on leaders while also falling under pressure. Examples: 2009 through 2012, People's Party, Benazir Bhutto's party, who was assassinated before the elections, ruled, in which the Prime Minister in 2012 was found inadequate to rule Pakistan as Prime Minister, as due to corrupt practices and him not allowing judicial branch to open cases against the party leader now, which is Zardari, also the widow of Benazir Bhutto. On the other hand, after his inadequacy to serve as Prime Minister, re-elections were called in 2013. In May 2013, Nawaz Sharif and Pakistan Muslim League was elected to the office of Prime Minister after a majority in the parliament. First of all, the Supreme Court did not respond to a 45-day long lock-in of Islamabad, Pakistan, in which the opposition party took to the streets with masses of people of Pakistan, in which the whole capital, Islamabad, was locked up due to the amount of people there protesting. Supreme Court failed to take any response to that, and they did start an inquiry which was thought to be corrupt, as the Prime Minister had effectively kind of manipulated the inquiry. Currently, the Supreme Court was into researching Nawaz Sharif, a case against him. Nawaz Sharif was in the top 10 corrupt leaders of the whole world in the current Panama Leaks papers. The whole Pakistan and its opposition parties did ask a lot of questions, some more than others, and wanted explanations from Nawaz Sharif, which he failed to give. So the Supreme Court, after another protest from the opposition party of a lock-in in Islamabad, there was an inquiry started against him. The inquiry ended up in a 3-month-long process in which 2 of the 5 panel judges found Nawaz Sharif guilty of money laundering and also corruption, while the rest of the 3 asked for more evidence, forming a JIT, Judicial Inquiry Tribunal. That tribunal has been researching into Nawaz Sharif's dealings since about 2 months, in which it has questioned many of the top leaders of the party, including Nawaz Sharif's son, and there have been a lot of threats made to the Judicial Inquiry Tribunal. Threats such as, "We will deal with you later," quotes, "Who's gonna save you after the inquiry?" So therefore, the authority of the judicial branch is not so strong, due to it not being such a legitimate institution, as it has made very skeptical type of decisions from the point of view of the public. So, in final words, the situation of rule of law in Pakistan. Basically, rule of law in Pakistan has progressed but has also fallen down due to the dictatorships which have ruled Pakistan for about 1/3 of its total age in 1947 to today, which is 2017. Actually, 34 years out of the 60-year life of the country have been under military dictatorship after independence from the British imperialist colonies, which were also just like dictatorships. Okay, another thing that we see that's affecting the rule of law in Pakistan is the power of the Prime Minister to dissolve the government, or the frequency of the martial laws in Pakistan. The martial laws come in effect in Pakistan as there's not too much cooperation between the PM and the Chief of Staff, which are both known, the Chief of Staff known to be the most powerful man in the country, as leading the seventh most strongest army and a nuclear state, while the PM is the leader of the government. Most times, we have seen in history that whenever there's been discussions in which no compromise has been seen soon enough, the military dictatorship does come into play, which does harm the legitimacy of the government and the democracy, therefore harming the legitimacy of the judicial branch. Although rule of law has starting to gain some attention in Pakistan as people demand for it, it's still yet to be seen if the improvements that have been going through the Supreme Court since the Supreme Court finding the PM in 2012, Gilani, to be inadequate to lead the government. We're going to have to see if the rule of law does still take place, or if the Judicial Inquiry Tribunal does fall under pressure of the sovereign government of PM Nawaz Sharif. There is much to be seen, but one thing can be said, that although rule of law is starting to gain significance in the Pakistan government system and its public, it has had up and down due to the military dictatorships, although the dictatorships have gone down in the frequency. Much has to be seen in a developing state like Pakistan, but we hope that you guys learned a lot of things about rule of law in the state of Pakistan. Thank you very much for joining us.
If you liked the video, please subscribe and leave a comment.